Uh, Let me
Okay,
welcome Mr. Pranav Vyas. Pranav Vyas is Assistant Professor at Computer Applications Department of Charotar University of Science and Technology. He has more than 10 years of teaching experience. He has written more than 15 research papers and many chapters on books. His area of research include applied cryptography, distributed databases, and blockchain. So today I would like to welcome Dr. Pranav Vyas for delivering the sessions on blockchain. I thank you very much, Mr. Pranav, for sharing your valuable time with our technology team.
okay. Thank you, Adarsh, for inviting me. Let us begin. So let me give you some very brief idea first on blockchain, and then I will show you some working example of how the blockchain technology actually does the job it is supposed to do. So as you guys already know, we are using databases in our daily life, especially as a developer, you use it almost every day. But there are some drawbacks of this databases. There are some drawbacks of this technology that we use as a database. And one of the main drawback is that this is a centralized technology, centralized database technology, where one or only few of the you can say users have access to the database, and only these users are able to uh, control who can read database, who can write database, and who can record their transaction in the database. Okay. Now the problem with this approach is that sometimes what happens in case of these users are not there anymore, or what if these users are compromised, then the whole integrity of our database will be compromised. Okay. Also, this means that there is a centralized control, and that means that your data is actually not free, and your data is can be accessible by anyone who tries to access this database. So, blockchain is answer to all these problems. What blockchain is basically a distributed ledger technology. Okay. So just like a ledger where we record different transactions, in the blockchain also we record these different transactions, but we record it in a distributed manner. What do I mean by distributed manner? Is that your record of your transaction is not located on a single computer or on some set of computers, but rather it is shared between many computers who are part of the blockchain. Okay. Second thing is that this data that is there on so many computers is accessible to anyone who has a certain token to access it, you can say. Okay, they can access it, they can verify it, they can check it. Suppose if I am saying that in my bank right now I have 100 crore rupees, so how will you verify that? In blockchain, I can give you a token, you can take that token, enter in some computer system, and the system will tell you that yes, account with this token has this much balance. Right now, there is no such thing with our bank databases. Only thing is I have to get a bank statement, and then I have to get it stamped and signed by the manager, and all that things we have to do. So with blockchain, this thing is not there. Third thing is that even though your data is shared with multiple computers, it is located on multiple computers, but still it is encrypted. Therefore, nobody can know that this particular record belongs to you, and this particular record belongs to person X or person Y or person Z. Okay, so this is the benefit of blockchain. Okay, now we will see some other major benefits as well of the blockchain, but let us go and check the how the blockchain works. So in order to understand how blockchain works, first thing that we need to understand is this concept of the hash. Let me go to that. Okay. So this SHA-256 hash is actually a sort of a function where you can give any data as an input. It will give you a unique hash or unique string, which is 256 characters long. Okay, so here I can give data of any length. It will convert that into a hash of 256 characters long, and each time if the data is changing, even a one character is changing, then the hash will change. Okay, so let us see that. So this is a cat, for example. So you can see that hash has changed. Now, instead of cat, if I write dog, the hash that you see below will change. Okay. Now, if I write just this is a, again hash is different. Okay. So based in blockchain, this concept of hash is used very at a very, you can say, basic level, and the whole blockchain depends on this concept of hashing. Okay, so this hash concept is that. Okay, and the thing with this hash concept is that no two strings will have same hash. For example, this is a cat, will have different hash than there will be with this is a CET cat. Okay, so you can see that even a one character of difference will change it. Another thing with this hash is that no matter what is the length of data, the length of hash remains the same. The length of hash remains as 256. So you can see, no matter how much data I am entering over here, the length of hash will remain same. Okay. So this is a concept that we need to understand before we understand the blockchain. Now let us understand the concept of block. So here is a concept of block. This is the basic structure of a block. There is a block number. There is a nonce. Nonce stands for number used only once. Okay, number used only once. So NONCE, nonce. This is a random number that is associated with each block. It keeps on changing. It's a random number, and this random number is different for each and every block. And later, block number, the nonce, and whatever we enter in this data will together be used to generate a unique ID for the block, which is the hash value. So you can see here, see the hash keeps changing. As and when I enter the data, more and more data, the hash keeps changing. Okay. Then when we say mine this block, that means by mining, we are saying that save this block or record this block with this block number, this nonce, and this data. We want to record this block, so we can click on this mine and this will be saved. Okay, it will take a couple of seconds, but this will be saved like this. So when we say that we are mining, you must have heard that. Okay, that something is getting mined. So basically what is happening is that this block is being saved. And once this block is saved, you cannot make changes in this block. Okay, this is another character. See, even if I am placing a space bar, pressing a space bar, this block is not going to allow. So let me paste few things and see what happens. See, this is turning, instead of green, it is turning red. What this means, basically, what this indicates is that this is turning into something that does not meet the hash that does not mean the hash of the block that we had already mined previously. Okay, because as you know, adding the data will change the hash. Okay, so then what you have to do, you have to mine it again. Again, you have to mine it, and it will again take a couple of seconds. Okay, so this is the idea behind the block. It has block number, it has nonce, and here is data, and together these three things are given input to this hash, and then this is 256 character long hash is generated. Now let us come to the blockchain. So blockchain is what? It's a group, it's a chain of the block that we have seen previously. Okay. Now in the blockchain, the first block is block number 1. It has some randomly generated number as a nonce, and then there is some data. Right now it's empty. Then there are two things that are there in the real blockchain. There is a hash of the previous block, and all these four things, block, nonce, data, and previous hash, together are used as an input to generate the current hash. Okay. So, and then you see in the second block, the previous hash of the previous block is given. So you see here is this 15783 is hash of this block 1. So here this is the previous block hash. You can see that 1578 something is the hash. Okay, and then so this previous field will link the one block with its predecessor, and this is how the link of block is formed, and that's what we know as a blockchain. Okay, so you can see that there are number of blocks here in the link. Now, thing with this blockchain is that you cannot edit the data once it is recorded in the blockchain. Okay, suppose if I try to edit this data, say in the block number 4, there is some data and I want to change it. And if I try to change it, see what happens. This is turning red. Why it is doing that? Because the hash of the block is changing. Okay, look at this hash value at the bottom, this hash value. And now what happens is that this block 5 tries to go and check for the hash with this block 4 hash, and this previous hash does not equal to the current hash. Okay, so therefore it is not possible to modify the data from the blockchain once it is done. If you want to modify, what you have to do, you have to mine this first. Once this is mined, then you have to mine this block again. So basically, now imagine that if I want to change in block number 2 or even block number 1, I will have to, here if I have to say this, then see all the blockchain will get affected, all the blocks, because nowhere the hash will remain same. Okay. So then I have to mine this one first, then I have to mine this one, then I have to mine this one and this one. Therefore, it is very difficult to make changes into the blockchain once the transaction is recorded. Okay. Now, remember I told you that this is a distributed blockchain. So this is just a single computer's blockchain that we are looking at. Now, this blockchain is located on thousands or hundreds of thousands of computers. The same data, same blocks are located on hundreds of thousands of computers. So imagine now that if you have to change data on one computer's one block, then this peer A, if we are changing some data and even if we are mining all the blocks, peer B will not have that data. Peer C will not have that data. So whenever some verification will occur, at that time, peer B and peer C will tell that we have data that is different from peer A, and therefore peer A will be forced to change the data, and it will be forced to take the copy of blockchain from peer B or peer C and have that copy as its active copy. So therefore, what will happen is that it will be impossible or near to impossible to forge a data, to modify a data once it is entered in the blockchain and that block is recorded. Okay. So this is the distributed blockchain. Now this blockchain copy is with many computers. Here it is given 3. In real world there are hundreds and thousands of computers that are there. So now tokens, right? Bitcoins, for example. So Bitcoins, what they do is they store this kind of transactions. Okay. For example, see, in the beginning, Darcy had $25, or say in beginning, Darcy had some N dollars. Out of that, Darcy is sending 25 to Bingley. Elizabeth is sending some $4.27 to Jane. So this is how the transactions are recorded in the blockchain, especially the Bitcoin transactions that you and I are very familiar with. Okay. And different blocks can contain different number of transactions. It is not that all blocks will contain same transactions. So you can see peer A contains these transactions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Peer B also contains in the block 1 same number of transactions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And peer C also contains same number of transactions. So now imagine if I change this 25 to 1, then not only peer A has different transactions, but you can see that peer B transactions are also different from peer A, and peer C transactions are also different from peer A. So in this case, it will be caught that peer A has made some illegal modification. Okay. So therefore, the blockchain is considered relatively safe as well. Okay, that you cannot modify it, you cannot change it, and it is basically what you can say immutable. That means you cannot destroy. Once the transaction is there in the blockchain, it is impossible to destroy it. Okay, so this is the basic of blockchain. Now let us quickly see some applications. So where can we use blockchain? Okay, so one of the biggest use of blockchain is in the financial sector. When these kind of transactions are happening, how will we make sure that the transactions are actually taking place, and how will we make sure that the person who is making the transaction later on says that, no, I did not make any such transaction? So in order to prevent that from happening, we can store data in this kind of blockchain. Also later on, this can be used as a proof of transaction, and usually when you get a proof of transaction from a centralized database, there is always a chance that the central authority is compromised, and therefore the level of trust on the transactions which are a record of transaction which is coming from the centralized database is usually less than what is from the blockchain, because with blockchain there comes a guarantee that your transactions, whatever they are in the blockchain, are never compromised. So that is another thing which is there. Then we can use blockchain, say, in records where there are multiple people who are involved, multiple parties who are involved. For example, buying and selling of land, where there are many people are involved. A big plot of land may be divided amongst, say, 10 people. Then we can record it like that. A plot of land from 10, a certain builder may be buying a plot of land from 10 different people and then merging together as one big plot. So that can be done here. So all these kinds of things are possible. Another application of blockchain can be in the management of health records of the patients, hospital patients. If you are moving from one hospital to the other, then you have to carry this big file with you where all the records are there. Instead, if we get a system where different hospitals are participating, so what they have to do basically is they just have to enter, a hospital has to enter the patient records in one system, and then it becomes part of the blockchain. Later on, it cannot be modified even. So patients cannot claim that, okay, this hospital, this doctor did not tell me that this was my problem, or he did not prescribe me this medicine. Or even doctors cannot lie that, no, I did not do that, or I did not notice that, because it will all be part of the report. And once it is in blockchain, it becomes immutable. So it will benefit hospitals as well as patients. Another thing that can be done is with the insurance claims, where you can basically set the insurance contracts as a part of blockchain. And there is something called these autonomous programs that are there in blockchain, which are called smart contracts. These programs can execute the transaction based on meeting of certain conditions. So say if certain conditions are met, then without verifying or without human intervention on your claim, if certain conditions are met, your claim can be accepted by the insurance company. So this is again another example where blockchain can be useful. Still another example can be in traceability system, where we have to trace certain goods or certain article. Say, for example, we have to trace diamonds which are being bought and sold in the market. So we want to make sure that these diamonds are not coming from some illegal transaction or illegal way. So we can mark these diamonds. So we can trace the very first owner of this diamond, and we can find out that where this diamond has been, in whose hand it has been, who was the first owner, who was the second owner, and so on. We can find out. Same thing can be done with food traceability. That whatever food you are buying from the market, where is it coming from? How is it handled? How is it processed? So all these things, if say you are buying a certain food which they say is organic, so how will you make sure that this is organic? With blockchain, the record of food can be stored, can be recorded and maintained, and later on the user can use some kind of barcode or QR code and access the data about the food to know whether the food was actually grown where it claims to have been grown. Is it actually organic or not? What kind of processing is done on this food? All these things can be done. So I think my time is almost over. So we can stop here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Participants, if you are having any questions, you can ask to Mr. Pranav right now. I have one question, Mr. Pranav.
Yes, yes.
For example, we are storing this data on a server end. Let's say that is a peer A is there, B is there, C is there, D is there. So this is the actually replica of the multiple data.
Yes.
For example, we are storing 100